Happy Monday, second graders. I hope you had a nice weekend with your family. I took a break yesterday and spent some time with my family, but I missed you, so I'm glad we're back together today. I thought, since it's Monday, we might read another story that is a little funny. Maybe not funny to your grown-ups, but I think you'll find it funny. This is titled The Story of the Little Mole Who Knew It Was None of His Business. It was written by Werner Holzwerth, and it was illustrated by Erlbruch. And this is a story about a little mole who pops his head out of his hole, and something lands on his head, and he's trying to figure out where it came from. Now, I also wanted to mention that this is a book from England, and their sense of humor is a little bit different than ours in some ways, and maybe as I read the book, you'll understand. So, let's get started. One day, the little mole poked his head out from underground to see whether the sun had already risen. Then it happened. It looked like a sausage, and the worst thing was that it landed right on his head. "How mean!" cried the little mole. "Who has done this to my head?" But he was so short-sighted that he couldn't see anyone around. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the dove, who was flying past. The mole is British, by the way, if you couldn't tell. "Me? No, how could I do it like this?" she answered. And splish, plish, a moist white blob landed on the ground right next to the little mole. His right leg was splashed with white. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the horse, who was grazing in the pasture.
"Me? No, how could I? I'd do it like this."
And flump, plump, 5 big, fat, horsey apples plopped down within a hair's breadth of the mole. He was very impressed. "Did you do this to my head?" he asked the hare. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," answered the hare. And rat-a-tat-tat, 15 little round beans shot past the mole's ears. He saved himself with a daring leap. What's so funny? You must be enjoying the book. That's why you're laughing so much. Good. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the goat, who had been dreaming just a little. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," she replied. And plippity-plop, a pile of toffee-colored little balls tumbled on the grass. The little mole found them almost appealing. There's a fly in here. "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the cow, who was chewing the cud.
"Me? No, how could I? I do it like this."
And kersploosh, a big brownish-green pancake flopped into the grass just next to the mole. He was very relieved that it hadn't been the cow who had done something on his head. Do you hear that, second graders? "Did you do this on my head?" he asked the pig. "Me? No, how could I? I do it like this," replied the pig. And plop, splat, a little soft brown pile fell to the grass. The mole held his nose. What's that sound again? "Did you do this on my..." He was going to ask again, but as he came closer, he saw only 2 big, fat black flies, and they were eating. "At last, someone who will be able to help me," thought the mole. "Who did this on my head?" he asked excitedly. "Keep nice and still," buzzed the flies. There was a short pause, and then, "It is clear to us that it was a dog." How do you think they found that out? Ugh. Finally, the little mole knew who had done this business on his head. Basil, the butcher's dog. Actually, I think they pronounce it Basil over in England. Basil. Quick as a flash, he climbed onto Basil's kennel and bling! A tiny black sausage landed right on top of the dog's head. Satisfied at last, the little mole disappeared happily into his hole underground. The end. It's not raining outside. I don't know what that noise is. Anyway, well, I really hoped you enjoyed today's book, second graders. If I wanted to ask you a question, first of all, actually two questions. First of all, I want to ask you, what type of fiction was this? Was it realistic fiction? Was it fantasy? Fantasy. Was it historical fiction? Was it science fiction? Yeah, I agree. Fantasy. Fantasy. I noticed on the last page that this mole had little shoes on his feet. And I thought to myself, moles don't wear shoes. They wear sandals. So this is obviously fantasy. My second question is, show me with your fingers your evaluation of the book. It was the absolute worst book in the whole world, and I hope it gets torn up and thrown in the recycling. It was pretty bad, but I've read a lot worse. It was so-so, not terrible, not great. It was pretty good. I liked it. It was one of the best, funniest books that I've ever heard or read in my life. So go ahead and show me. I see 5s, I see 4s. I see a 1. Why did you give it a 1? Because of, yeah, I get it. It was still pretty funny though. Okay, second graders, I will see you later today for our next chapter in Chocolate Fever. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.